and Go Du 2 worked up and asked bluntly, Chen Lang, have you examined that map carefully? Chen Lang calmly replied, I'm done. I can solve it in about 2 hours. If not, you can cut me into 100 pieces. And Go Du 2 nodded in agreement. She turned and walked away while Chen Lang kept mumbling, but master, if I solve this problem on paper and submit it to the master of Fudo Mountain, wouldn't that be like handing over a classic invention for someone else to take credit for? And Go Du 2 replied briefly, I know. She went straight to the elders of Fudo Mountain and said, Seniors, this Chen Lang can solve this puzzle. At best, it will take him 15 minutes. The elder replied in surprise, let him try. We'll see when he solves it. And Go Du 2 explained that Chen Lang wanted to work directly on the globe. He would write the answer on paper before handing it over to the Fudo side. However, many people thought this was like doing charity work, much like a student who conducts a life-changing research project, publishes it in the world's most prestigious journal, but shows it to the professor first, only for the supervisor to claim the credit. Hearing this, the master of Fudo Mountain was astonished and said, no way, does this kid not know the immensity of heaven and earth? Let our Fudo Mountain representative handle it. If he goes up there and fails, wouldn't we be a laughingstock? This and Go Du 2. I'm just happy to have finally found a disciple, so I don't care what tricks he uses to protect himself, but if he remains this oblivious, I should just get rid of him to save myself the trouble. And Go Du 2 calmly replied, within 2/4 of an hour, if Chen Lang fails to solve it and cannot open the gate, I will resign as an elder of Hor Muk Juang. I stand by my word. If you don't agree, I'll resign anyway to keep things simple. The master of Fudo Mountain was shocked, unable to understand what spell Chen Lang had cast to make Go Du 2 trust him so blindly. Actually, there was nothing to lose by letting him try. At worst, it would just be embarrassing. After all, the powerful crowd had been trying for a month without success, and now everyone was choosing to study it carefully before attempting again. The master of Fudo Mountain spoke in a low voice, fine, and Go Du 2. I will give him a chance, but if he's still stuck after 2/4, he must be expelled from the sect immediately. Fudo Mountain does not accept useless disciples like that. And Go Du 2 nodded and waved for Chen Lang to come closer. She acted as if the crowd around them were merely non-existent ghosts. She grabbed Chen Lang and flew up toward the giant statue. Before long, they landed on the statue's hand and then leaped onto the middle of the globe. And Go Du 2 looked at Chen Lang and reminded him, only 2/4. If you can't solve it, I lose my position and you are expelled from the sect. Chen Lang thought to himself, my master really is the type of person who doesn't know what fear is. She doesn't understand how difficult this problem is, nor does she bother to find out. In her heart, she has absolute faith. That's fine, let's just do it. Chen Lang confidently signaled okay and nodded, no problem. Below, Elder Khan lit an incense stick. Once the incense burned out, the half-hour time limit would be up. The master of Fudo Mountain spoke, fellow disciples, this Chen Lang is a disciple of Fudo Mountain. From now on, you will represent us in conquering this problem. Hearing this, everyone around was stunned. The crowd's only reaction was that this was just another boaster who didn't know his own limits. It was no surprise that Fudo Mountain would harbor such a cocky guy. This had been happening every day for the past half year. Those transcendent forces were scouring the world for geniuses to solve the problem anyway. Even Princess Ninhan of the Ninhai High Kak had sought out Chen Lang, mainly to prevent him from participating in the struggle for the throne of Viet Quoc. Many external geniuses looked at the problem and thought it was simple. For Chen Lang to demand 2/4 was already arrogant, yet some were bragging that they could finish in just one. Everyone felt disgusted by this guy's frog in a well attitude. Seeing the expressions of the external geniuses, the major powers were convinced that the world's most brilliant minds belonged to them because they had access to advanced ancient civilization, while the outsiders were just commoners. Therefore, after glancing at Chen Lang, everyone went back to focusing on the problem. Nobody wanted to waste time on someone about to face humiliation, not even Princess Ninhan. She understood Chen Lang's intelligence perhaps better than anyone. He had solved the super problem of the Ninhai High Kak and broken the Thin Tan puzzle once thought unsolvable. But to Ninhan, that super problem wasn't worth mentioning, as even children could solve it. As for the board game, she was embarrassed to admit that she and another elder had set it up together. Thus, she always looked down on Chen Lang's intelligence. No matter how gifted he was, without access to advanced civilization, he was just a savage. This four-color theorem problem led to the entrance of an ancient ruin and could not be solved by flash of brilliance. It required the terrifying computational power of a genius brain pushed to its limit. That was why, when Chen Lang previously wanted to trade the answer for blood crystals, she had flatly refused, partly due to the arrogance of the Ninhai High Kak, which never changed its blacklist, and partly because Ninhan was too smug about her own intellect. She met geniuses like Chen Lang all the time, and seeing him declare he could solve it in 2/4 made her think he was shallow and arrogant. In everyone's eyes, Chen Lang was like a clown putting on a show, but they didn't bother to mock him, as those at the peak of power usually maintained a lofty attitude. Ignoring him completely was the ultimate form of contempt. At this moment, Chen Lang was focused on observing the brilliant globe beneath his feet. This wasn't Earth, nor was it a map of this world, but a completely strange planet. Checking it twice, Chen Lang couldn't help but marvel. The person who designed this map was truly profound. They had pushed the difficulty of the four-color theorem to the ultimate level. The map had hundreds of irregular pieces, with many areas intertwined like a labyrinth. If one finished coloring, while not strictly proving the theorem completely, it would reach a 9,999% accuracy rate. Chen Lang had to use 4 colors to cover the entire thing, absolutely without using a 5th color, and adjacent areas could not share the same color. It sounded as easy as a first-grade assignment, but once he started, he felt the desperation, especially since this map was created to challenge the theorem. Hundreds of interlocking pieces created over 1 billion combinations, yet there was only one correct answer. Transcendent forces had researched it for decades and failed. If they mobilized hundreds of people using the elimination method, it would take several years. Doing it alone without brain enhancement would take 10 years, maybe never. However, in 1976, a computer took 200 hours to solve it, but the speed of Shenlang's brain was tens of millions of times faster. After just a few seconds, the answer became clear. Shenlang was lost in Thord, Parhar. It took exactly 0.0012 seconds to calculate. Truly the loneliness of an undefeated person. Thinking this, Shenlang said seriously, Master, help me color it. And Go-Do too was anxious. But color. Just read it out, and I'll color it right away. Immediately, Shenlang began to direct, yellow, blue, green, blue, yellow. No matter how fast Shenlang read, and Go-Do too followed as if possessed. Each area took less than a second. Her movements were lightning fast. In just 3 minutes, half the globe was finished. At this moment, half the crowd below looked up. They realized that up to this point, all of Shenlang's answers were accurate to the smallest detail. It was easy to check. One just needed to see if adjacent areas shared the same color and if the total number of colors did not exceed 4. Someone took a glance and felt uncomfortable in their heart. This guy's really showing off. Shenlang's handsome face turned cold and arrogant. Standing on the statue's hand, he smiled confidently, peering like a visitor from an advanced civilization teaching lowly races how to behave, making many below want to rush up and beat him. Shenlang thought to himself, even a pig would know the last piece must be yellow. I won't say this last move, letting Go-Do too show off a bit. Go-Do too saw Shenlang pause and frowned. Tell me, what color? After hearing Shenlang's reply, she was speechless. Shenlang replied helplessly, yellow, and Go-Do too placed the yellow color on the last piece. Immediately, the entire globe radiated color. The great task was accomplished. Hundreds of areas had no overlapping colors in adjacent pieces, all contained within just 4 colors. A surreal map appeared before everyone's eyes, looking like a mesmerizing work of post-impressionist art. Among hundreds of millions of possibilities, only this one solution was correct, and it was now displayed right before everyone's eyes. The entire hall checked simultaneously, and everyone gasped at the shocking realization. It was true, not a single error, perfectly precise. Oh my god, this is truly terrifying. Didn't Shenlang say it would take 2 key approximately 30 minutes earlier? Yet now, in less than half a key approximately 7.5 minutes, it was done. The problem that had stumped countless geniuses for half a year was solved by him as easily as eating candy, and the bitter truth was, he was just a native who had never received any formal training. The whole crowd fell silent. Suddenly, a loud slap on the thigh echoed through the air, forcing the crowd to look around in confusion. What was that sound? It sounded like someone was unwrapping something. It wasn't an illusion. It was real, because Shenlang was standing right there, loudly slapping his thigh and saying, "Oh, how embarrassing, there are too many mosquitoes." Faced with Shenlang's sarcastic attitude, the people below were furious, but only dared to curse him silently, because this island was so arid there wasn't even an ant, let alone mosquitoes to slap. This guy was clearly openly mocking everyone, and when it came to brazenness, he claimed to be second to none. Standing high above, Shenlang secretly thought, you all consider yourselves the elite of a superior civilization and disdain us mere mortals, don't you? Perhaps you are skilled in other fields, but with this 4-color theorem, just a little brainpower is all it takes. I'm perfectly capable of sending all of you to the chicken coop, Parhar. Then he glanced provocatively at Ninghan. Hey, you scoundrel, isn't your face burning yet? What you researched for half a year and couldn't solve, I finished in a few minutes. Back then, when you met me, you treated me like an idiot. How about now? Looking at Shenlang's triumphant appearance, Ninghan's face was purple with indignation, but she couldn't do anything. She couldn't believe he was so quick-witted, because she herself fully understood that this difficult problem required billions of insane calculations to even hope to reach the answer. But the undeniable truth was there, Shenlang had indeed done it. This was the first time Ninghan had been slapped in the face so painfully. Clap, clap, he continued to stand high above, deliberately clapping his hands in the air provocatively. This guy was truly a petty person reveling in his triumph to the fullest. Each clap was like a stinging slap across Ninghan's face, making her expression increasingly unsightly. However, the master of Mount Fudu was secretly overjoyed. He trembled with excitement, thinking to himself, this young Shenlang is indeed a top talent. What a stunning mathematical genius. Once it's deciphered, the gate to the ancient relic will swing open, and all mining rights will fall directly into Mount Fudu's hands. The entire crowd was holding its breath, waiting. Even Shenlang felt a little nervous. The difficult problem was solved, so why hadn't the relic opened yet? He was certain the result was absolutely correct, but everything remained as silent as ever. Shenlang quickly used his divine vision to examine it but gained nothing. It seemed this relic resisted divine rays or its outer shell was too thick, rendering his ability useless. Just then, a beam of sunlight shone onto the globe in the hand of the gigantic stone statue. Immediately, the entire planetary model began to glow brilliantly. The light grew increasingly dazzling. Wu Tuzi swiftly pulled Shenlang down to the ground. The halo of light on the globe reached its peak. Boom. A massive explosion shook the entire sky. The globe in the giant's hand shattered, revealing a polygonal key with an incredibly strange shape. Shenlang was stunned in amazement. This is a key. Wu Tuzi said nothing, but shot upwards like a squirrel to reach the key. She grabbed the object without hesitation, lifting it as lightly as if taking something from a pocket, her face devoid of emotion.